All right, guys, starting a little early today. What's going on? What's happening? Welcome to Bearcat Live. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we're going to talk about the home front. I want to talk about the home front today. I want to dedicate this episode to Nigeria, to what's happening in the home front right now. Five of you, where are you guys watching from? By the way, the chat is open. Let's have a heartfelt conversation today. The chat is open. So if you want to hop on as a guest, feel free to use that link in the chat. Toast to you. Toast to you. Toast to you. Go ahead and share this. Let's get people on here. Let's get people on here. Rich and Barricade here. I am broadcasting live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Happy to have you guys. There's a lot going on. The impact of the Iran war is hitting home, and it's hitting home in a hard way. I called some people in Nigeria this morning just to catch up on what's going on back home and what the local sentiments are back home. What are people talking about? How is the Iraq war affecting people back home? Prices of commodities, what are people paying for food? Um, how much is gas? Here in Las Vegas, I've seen in some places I'm seeing around what $5.50 in some places. I'm talking about 550 $5.50 per gallon. In Nigeria, we use liter. So right now, fuel prices in Nigeria has hit 1,200 naira per liter. Some people are even paying 1,300 naira per liter, depending on where you are in Nigeria. So the price that I just gave you is what they're paying in Akwa Ibom State, specifically Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. 1,200 to 1,300 naira per liter is what they're paying in Akwa Ibom right now. And then as far as like cement is concerned, for those in the construction space, I have a construction project as well in Nigeria. The going rate right now for cement is 12,000 naira per bag. That's the current going rate right now. So if you're building in Nigeria or wherever you are in Nigeria, if you're watching from there, what is the price of fuel? And if you are a builder, what are you paying right now for cement? What's the price of rods, chippings, building materials? What are you guys paying currently right now? I want to know. Put it in the chat. So I want to start this by saying this, and this might hit home for some of you, and it may not. But I think that the biggest risk that we run as a nation, I'm talking about Nigeria here, specifically Nigeria, is our over-reliance on externals for basic essentials of life. We are too reliant on others, other nations, to succeed as a nation. But we've got to give kudos to people like Dangote that's actually helping to change that narrative right now in Nigeria with the with Dangote oil refinery that is currently in production, has been open now since 2024. It's not even up to 2 years now that Dangote oil has opened. But that's just a little blip though, in terms of our reliance on foreign factors for the survival of most Nigerian people. So every day that a Nigerian wakes up and goes about their business, with the exception of life, we are relying on multiple factors to get on with our day, whether it's going to work, using public transportation, energy, we are dependent mostly on others for our energy needs, our infrastructure needs as well, as far as like transportation and technology goes. Nigeria is largely dependent on others. So Dangote is actually one of the few leaders in that space that's helping us move away from overdependence on others. I hope that we have more Dangotes in the world because currently right now, well, not the world, in Africa. Currently right now, there are only two African, what's up, CJ? Canada. Canada is in the house. How's it going, CJ? Can we discuss tomatoes in Can we discuss tomatoes in West Africa and what Burkina Faso is doing? I, I mean, is Africa known for tomato manufacturing? I don't think that we're known for tomato manufacturing. We are not. We have arable land, CJ, as you know, in Nigeria, but we can't cultivate. How many tomatoes manufacturers do we have in Nigeria? We import most of our tomato paste from abroad. The fresh tomatoes that we have in Nigeria that's grown in, I wouldn't say most things are grown up north. They're probably grown in the southern belt of Nigeria. They are considered fresh vegetables, fresh produce. So we can't export those out. I don't even think that Nigeria has the production capacity to meet the local tomato consumption in the country, let alone export. So we produce, we harvest, we take it to our local farmers markets and we sell out. Right now, agriculture is we are focusing on agriculture in a bit. I would like to see us diversify away from that and start looking into technology like most developed nations are looking at right now. Over the next 2 years, artificial intelligence is going to be a $2 trillion sector. And Africa is not playing in that game right now, the artificial intelligence game. We are not playing at this point. We are still observing. I showed CJ a heat map yesterday of all of the regions in the world that's currently investing heavily into artificial intelligence. Nobody in Africa is touching it at an enterprise level. We are just sort of like watching to see what's going to happen. But this is not the time where you want to be watching to see what others are doing in the world of AI. We are not even there yet. Agriculture-wise, Nigeria, you guys know, we import majority of the food that we consume. And that's what ties into what I talked about, like one of the biggest risks that we're facing right now as a nation. And to be honest with you, it's an existential issue. We are too dependent on external factors for the basic survival of Nigeria as a whole. If everywhere were to shut down right now, I don't think any nation in Africa can stand on their own. So with the Iran war, what's happening right now, you guys, you know what's going on with the Hormuz Straits. It is impacted majorly right now because Iran is attacking commercial ships, which in turn affects the flow of energy in and out of the Persian Gulf. And Africa is a huge buyer of the oil that flows in and out of the Strait of Hormuz. So right now that things are shut down, a lot of nations right now, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, all those Middle Eastern belts, all nations, they are not producing refined fuel anymore. It's not because they can't, it's because they don't have anywhere to store them. And everyone is just holding on to the reserves right now to see what happens with the Iran war. That's why you're seeing the rise of fuel prices at the fuel pump. It's not because there aren't any crude oil around. There are, but nobody's refining right now because where are they going to store? They don't have any storing capabilities anymore. Because on an average, before the war started, on an average, 130 to 150 oil vessels flow in and out of the Hormuz Strait every single day. Now it's down to about 4, if they even get that. So you can technically consider the Strait of Hormuz closed at this point. Oil is not moving anywhere. And uh, we buy, Nigeria buys crude oil because we can't really give Dangote all of the crude oil that he needs to be able to refine. So he's also dependent on buying from other nations like China. Dangote buys a lot of crude oil from China. And China's energy, 90% of Chinese energy comes from the Straits of Hormuz. I'm talking about the crude oil that China buys and sells to countries like Nigeria comes from the Straits of Hormuz. So everything is pretty much, it's not on a standstill right now, but things have slowed down a bit. And the way that the war is going on right now, it does not seem like it's going to stop anytime soon because the Iranians are now fighting an insurgent war, is what they're fighting right now. They are resisting. They are fighting not to lose. They know that they can't win, but the Iranians are now fighting not to lose. That's what insurgents do. And they're willing to drag this on for as long as it takes. We saw what happened in Iran. We saw, sorry, Iraq. We also saw what happened in Afghanistan with the 20-year US war. That's what the Iranians are doing right now. So far, a little over 1,000 Iranian civilians, unfortunately, have perished as a result of the war. And as far as like soldiers are concerned, I believe at this point is about 1,100 Iranian soldiers have died. And they have what, 190,000 people in their military. And only 1,100 has died. So they are still fighting, but right now they're probably fighting among the civilians right now. They've taken off their uniforms, they've thrown on civilian clothes, and occasionally they'll pop their heads out, shoot a drone out here and there, shoot artillery fire here and there at their neighbors because they really can't hit the US aircraft carriers. They're just too far off in the Arabian Sea for them to touch. So what they're doing right now is they're basically just hitting the neighbors right now. And when you are in that zone where you are fighting an insurgency, the only way you can wipe them out is to put boots on the ground, which Donald Trump is not willing to do at this point. I hope he doesn't get there because now when you have boots on the ground, that is practically an invasion. And when you have an invasion, what happens? You start turning off your supporters. US doesn't want that. Israel doesn't want that. They would rather fight the Iranians from the air and sea. But as far as land is concerned, having US boots on the ground is going to cause a lot of issues. A lot of the people who are supporting the US right now in Israel, they are not going to support having US boots on the ground. So it's one of those situations where, I mean, their infrastructure, the military infrastructure in Iran practically does not exist at this point. And it's going to take boots on the ground to go and clean up the rest. You can't really, but then again, is the United States trying to invade? We're not really trying to invade. We just want the Strait of Hormuz to be open. And we also don't want Iran to have a nuclear weapon. So expect, for those of you who think that Dangote is the savior of Nigeria, he is not. Dangote is currently right now making a lot of money. He's making a lot of money. So that $1,200, $1,300 naira that we are paying, Dangote is laughing all the way to the bank. Not everybody wants this war to end. A lot of people are making money as a result of this conflict. I mean, think about it. Dangote is also in the cement space. He's basically running a monopoly right now, but can you blame him? You can't really blame him. There are only what, two major players in the cement space right now, two major. There are smaller independent cement companies in Nigeria, but the two major ones are Dangote and Bua. So they are the ones raking it in right now. So in public, Dangote might be against the war, but in private, man, I think Dangote's net worth has gone up in the last, how long has the conflict been right now? The conflict has been what, 4 weeks? Well, maybe 3 weeks, going on 4 weeks. Dangote's net worth has probably gone up by 20%. So people are making money as a result of this situation, but don't expect the oil price to go down anytime soon. Do not expect it. You're gonna pay in Nigeria 1,200 to 1,300 naira per liter for a while. Brace up. Brace up. So, CJ sent me something about Burkina. What was it again, CJ? Remind me of what Burkina Faso, what's happening in Burkina Faso right now, and then we'll touch on it. But in the meantime, I want to run over some current affairs in Nigeria right now, what's happening in the country. Let's look at it together. And then CJ, I will remind me again of what's because I don't want to exit off my screen to read what you sent me. Something about what Burkina Faso is doing. Oh man, there's another power outage in Nigeria. A power outage hits Lagos communities after gas tanker explosion. Okay, so this is as a result of an explosion, as if Nigeria already has lights. So the little lights that we have, these tanker explosions are causing more issues. So two people were reportedly killed when a gas tanker and a tipper, of course now. Part of it is due to the road, the other part is just due to maintenance. Who is really policing these oil tankers and tippers? They don't really maintain them like that. So because of that collision, it affected the power grid. The good news is it's some Lagos communities though, not the entire state. Hopefully they resolve this soon. Eco Electricity Distribution Company confirmed this in a statement on Saturday. So the power incident was caused by a fire that occurred following the vehicle collision with a stationary gas tanker. Resulting fire led to significant damage to the Beju and Medallion 33 kV feeders, including critical conductors and overhead. While CJ is waiting, let me see what's going on in Burkina Faso. Let's see what's happening in Burkina Faso. Mm. Well, CJ, you get it now. He says Burkina Faso is one of the most unstable countries in the world right now. They are sanctioned as a result of the coup. I met somebody, one of my friends. This guy, this Burkina Faso captain is really a lot of people in the US actually like him. They like they like what he's doing, but listen, guys, military. Let me actually talk about this. I know this is a question that CJ asked. Her question was, do we need to go back to military rule in Nigeria? No, I am not in support. I lived it growing up. If Nigeria were to go back to military rule today, it's going to set us back 20 years. Because the first thing that's going to happen, we are going to get sanctioned. That's the first thing that's going to happen. And the first thing that most sanctions hit is what? The inflow and outflow of oil. So Dangote Refinery can actually consider his business done. $20 billion of investment gone. If Nigeria were to go back to civilian rule, it also depends on how it happens. If it's a palace school, it doesn't really matter if it's a palace school or just a full-blown takeover. Going back to military, and that's why you see a lot of the people in the Sahel region, like the Burkina Faso, all those guys in the Sahel region from the west to the east, Niger, all those guys are like military, led by military dictators. They are all sanctioned right now. Very, very poor. You can keep your military leaders, but then you're going to lock yourself out of the global economy. So Nigeria going back to military rule, as crazy as things are right now in the country with the insurgencies and the insecurity and the lack of stable electricity in Nigeria, energy, which we need, with all that stuff going on, I still feel like Nigeria today is best under a democracy. Is best under elected officials. Remember, elected. You guys are the ones who elected these people, but unfortunately for you, we don't really have really qualified leaders. The selection pool in terms of leadership in Nigeria is small across all spectrum. That's why you have the issues that we currently have right now. So with all of that handicap, I still feel that Nigeria is still best under a democracy. Going to military rule might be it's it's a long-term solution to a sort of like a short-term problem in a way. We don't really, our issue, to be honest with you, is number one, is mostly driven by lack of forward-thinking leadership. Because when you have forward thinkers, they are able to help shape certain policies in Nigeria. So we are only limited to more of the same. That is why you have people like Peter Obi, Atiku, and El Rufai that's been involved in Nigerian politics since the 70s. They are still active in 2026. It's because we don't really have options. We basically have more of the same. So as far as like Nigeria going back to military rule, expect immediate sanctions. They are going to sanction all flow. Expect Nigeria to be slapped with economic sanctions. You are not, maybe China isn't going to get involved, but the West is going to get involved in sanctioning Nigeria. China doesn't really sanction anybody. And they are what? The major funders of Nigeria right now are the Chinese. So while the Chinese may not get involved in sanctioning Nigeria, if they were to go back to pre-99, because the Fifth Republic started in 99 under Olusegun Obasanjo. So if we were to go back to the Babangida era and the Abacha era and the Buhari era, in 2026, it's going to be disastrous for the nation. And it's going, so imagine getting set back 20 years. That is, if a military coup were to happen in Nigeria today, it's going to set Nigeria back 20 years. Then it's going to take another 20 years to rebuild back to a democracy. So you're looking at what? 2 generations right there gone, because a generation is 20 years. So 40 years. I'm 47 years old. I don't think I'll be alive to see Nigeria recover. So military dictator, going back to military rule is not the solution. The solution is we just need better leaders. And for you to have better leaders, they have to be groomed in politics. It's very hard for a civilian, you understand, for you to be a politician, it's a different sort of mindset. You are groomed from, let's say, college. That's why you have the majority of the politicians in America, federal level, they are all groomed in that Washington, D.C. area. They're literally groomed from childhood. Some of them are born into what is called political families. Nigeria, how many political families do we have? We don't. We don't have any political families in Nigeria that you can look back and say, okay, this is a pedigreed person that came from a leader that we respect. I see a little bit of that right now with what Obasanjo's daughter. I think she's running for Senate. Is it Obasanjo's daughter that's running for Senate right now? So Obasanjo can be considered a political pedigreed politician. If you were to combine his military rule in addition to his civilian rule, and then his daughter is doing the same, getting into the family business, This guy, the current president, Tinubu, also, his son, Sheyi, is a little bit, got a foot into politics, and also has got a foot into business. So you can kind of consider those types political families. Buhari's son, those are like political families. I name three. How many do we really have? We don't really have legacy families like that that Nigeria can really get behind and support. And also another problem is the current leaders right now, the people who've been running the show for so many years, they're not willing to let go of the baton. They're not willing to let go. They want to rule until they die. And then when you look at, if you were to look at someone like President Buhari that died last year, who can you really say is a Buhari protege? Who is Buhari's protege? They don't have. Who is Tinubu's protege? He doesn't really have. Who's Obasanjo's protege? They don't really have. Because these guys are not necessarily thinking about a succession plan. They want to hold on to power for as long as they can. And that is why you get more of the same. You may have a different face, you may have a different voice, but the ideologies are all the same. So we have that problem going on in Nigeria right now. We just don't have that forward thing. And that's another thing too. It's like it really confuses me. I mean, I would consider myself a worldly person. I've traveled the world. I've been privy to a functioning system and also a dysfunctioning system. I've been privy to live in a developed nation like the United States and also in a underdeveloped nation like Nigeria. Nigeria is still underdeveloped, though. Don't let anybody lie to you. To think, oh, Nigeria is the giant of. We are not the giant of anything. We are only the giant when it comes to population. We just have more people in Nigeria than any other country in the continent of Africa. We just have more people. It doesn't make Nigeria number one because we are not. Economically, right now, Nigeria is not number one in Africa. We are not even number two. It's South Africa that's number one and Egypt that's number two. So we are third. But the interesting thing is we are happy to be there. We are not really doing anything to get us to that number one spot, which we all know that we are more than capable of becoming. But unfortunately, when you have a situation where people are just not seeing beyond tomorrow, it becomes an issue for you to compete on the global stage. Remember, just because you manufacture something in Nigeria and it's good for Nigerians doesn't mean it's good for the rest of the world. You still have to go outside and go into the global marketplace to compete. It's what Dangote is currently doing right now. How many Dangotes do we really have? It's just him. So there's a reason why Dangote, if you look at just look at his strategy. He built the Dangote oil refinery. The products that are coming out of the Dangote oil refinery are international standard products. Some of the top quality products out there on the market today is a Dangote product. He's not building it because he's building it for a reason, because he knows that his market is not Nigeria. His market is the global space. So if he wants to sell oil, petroleum, refined petroleum to, let's say, a customer, let's say a customer in the UK, they are going to hedge him against the quality of Dangote petrol versus the quality of, let's say, ExxonMobil or Chevron or Shell. These are all, or Total Energies. These are all international oil companies, Saudi Aramco's. That's how they're going to gauge his product. Okay, so you want to sell us oil. We get it. You're an African oil company. How is your quality compared to the oil refineries that I just mentioned? So Dangote has to not only be a local refiner, he also has to be able to compete in the global marketplace to tap USD, because all trade still happens in US dollars. 99% of Nigerian businesses can't compete globally. You see, they say that there's this saying, in the land of the blind, the one-eye man is the king. In the land of the blind. So Dangote might be the king of Africa when it comes to oil, but when it comes to the world, man, he's got a lot of competition. He has to be able to compete on price. He has to be able to compete on talent. So he's facing a whole lot of he's got a lot of headwinds in front of him, but I think Dangote is positioned though for the competition. So he's a different kind of operator. Dangote refiner is what I'm talking about. Outside of Dangote refiner, who else can we say is a good operator in Nigeria? We don't really have it. The entire African continent, 1.4 to 1.5 billion people. We only have two oil refineries. One is in Libya, the other is Dangote oil. Nobody in Africa is playing. Africa also has a unity issue. We are not really unified. If you were in Nigeria right now, you were to travel to other African nations, you're going to have to go through Europe. That means you'll fly from Lagos to, let's say, France, and then fly into, let's say, Rwanda. You can't go directly from Lagos to Rwanda. I'm just giving you an example. That is how the African aviation sector works. So we are still very fragmented when it comes to that. And that is why you have, there really isn't a lot of interstate tourism within the African continent. Somebody can't easily move from, let's say, Nigeria to Botswana. I mean, I can go from Nigeria to Benin. I can go from Nigeria to Ghana, maybe even Cameroon, Togo, but those are like neighboring countries. That might be my limits. I'm not going to Niger though, which is just right above Nigeria. I'm not going there. I think Niger right now, only about 80,000 people go to Niger every month. Nobody goes to it because it's part of the Sahel region. Nobody goes there. So as far as like sub-Saharan Africa goes, for me to travel right now, well, not me, but most Nigerians to travel right now, they're going to have to go to other European countries just to be able to enter other African countries. That's a little bit odd. So that unity is not there. So we are fighting that as well, which is part of the issues that we're having right now. We are not really unified as a continent compared to, let's say, the kind of unity that the European Union that they have, where you can go from, let's say, France to Sweden and you don't need a visa. Africa is still very fragmented. It is very difficult for you to travel, for Africans to travel within Africa. And that's why you see a lot of people tend to go overseas. So Nigeria also has a spending problem. We don't have the capital markets to be able to buy what Nigeria produces. Because the per capita income in Nigeria is only what? 1,000 to 1,000 to $1,200 per capita. Compared to China is 15,000 per capita. The US is $85,000 per capita. I'm talking about $15,000. Chinese per capita. Nigeria per capita is only $1,200. US is 85,000 per capita. So the United States, not only can the United States manufacture within the United States, Americans can also buy and afford American-made goods. So that money keeps flowing within the country. That's why the United States today is largely self-reliant. If the world were to collapse today, the US might be the only nation that stands for years and years and years to come because we make things. We can also afford the things that we make. We can also sell the things that we make internationally. Whereas in Nigeria, if you make something in Nigeria, most Nigerians can't afford it. They just cannot. And that is why the only way that Nigerian manufacturers can really make money is to export their goods. Because Nigeria doesn't really have that spending power to do things within the country. So I got a call. Well, I told you guys earlier, I called my people in Nigeria and I was talking to one building engineer. He actually, CJ, he just got a client from Canada through me, actually. We talked about that. So most of these Nigerian operators they are depending on international people like me and you to give them jobs, to give them projects. Because the average Nigerian within Nigeria, they can't really do and they can't really build anything. If they build anything, they are kind of tight on money. So a lot of Nigerian operators, a lot of Nigerian contractors, Nigerian small businesses, the SMEs, small to medium-sized enterprises, they are largely dependent on the diaspora for work. So it's good to hear news like that, that our platform is helping to connect the diaspora with resources back home in Nigeria. So if you're watching this and you're from the diaspora and you are trying to do anything in Nigeria, particularly in Akwa Ibom State, go to the description. You'll see my phone number there. Inquire within, and we'll see what we can do for you. And then if you are also based here in the United States and you are interested in buying our packaged seasoning, you can go to America.com right now and pick up your pack of America crayfish right now. We ship across the United States. We ship in the US, United Arab Emirates, Canada, who else was France, Germany, and the UK. Those are the regions that we ship to right now. It's available on American.com. So we serve to, um, we have a retail brand, obviously. We also have an infrastructure project consultation as well. For those who are interested in doing anything in Nigeria and you just want help, you want questions answered, you want people to actually uh, help you build, buy land, do whatever it is you want in Nigeria, and you want any sort of clarity whatsoever, we have a consultation business as well, so you can reach out. So that is that. I want to go back to channels and see what else is happening in Nigeria. So we talked a little bit about the power outage happening in Lagos right now. What are some of your biggest challenges in Nigeria? For those in the diaspora, I am based in the US, Las Vegas. So I have a clock right now that's ticking right now on my screen. I don't know why. It's like it's giving me a countdown. I don't know why. Okay, so elections is coming up. The general election is coming up right now. Who are you voting for? Who do you think is next to lead the country? Do you guys like what Tinubu is doing right now? Do you think that he's not doing enough? Tinubu is not moving fast enough for Nigerians, is what Nigerians are saying. As if somebody can come and solve the country's problem in just 3 years. The old man is moving as fast as he possibly can. It's not as if he's the one that caused Nigeria's woes. He did well as a governor of Lagos State. And then he inherited 65 years of poor leadership is what Tinubu inherited. I'm not cheerleading for him. I'm not. But it is very difficult for you to be a Nigerian president. But then again, if you are not up to task, if you are not up for the job, then don't run for office. Is how I look at it. So I can't really feel sorry for Tinubu or anybody who holds that position. If you are incapable of fixing the country, then don't run for office. There's this guy, though, that's been running his mouth a lot lately. His name is Kenneth Okonkwo, Nollywood actor. Kenneth Okonkwo has been running his mouth lately. He thinks he can solve Nigeria's problem. Can you really then run for office? Don't back Peter Obi, Mr. Kenneth Okonkwo. Since you feel like you have the solution, since you think that you can fix Nigeria, I'm talking directly to Kenneth Okonkwo right now, an Hollywood actor. They'll run for office now. Let's see. Let's see what you can do differently from Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So Abdurrahman Muhammad, who is this? PDP inaugurates committees for national convention. Why is PDP still doing a national convention? Isn't that party over? The PDP doesn't exist anymore now. It exists on paper, but in some infrastructurally, PDP is dead. So what's the point? This is just a way for them to waste more money. PDP inaugurates committees for national convention. Why is PDP holding a national convention? You're not even in the presidential race, PDP. What's the point for a national convention? The only two people right now that should be doing a national convention is the APC and ADC. So as far as like PDP doing this, I just don't see why this is needed. You gotta love Nigerians. They're always kind of sitting around on a table. Everybody has a solution. If you have a solution, why not work with the current president? Must you sit on that seat? Must you be the president of Nigeria to offer your solution to the current sitting president? Become an advisor. Or at the end of the day, you are a Nigerian, or are you playing this for yourself? Is this all about you? Is this all about you? You see, everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the face. Five of you watching, where are you watching from? Everybody has a game plan. That punch in the face is the Nigerian system for you. You think you have the solution until you get sworn in as a president. Then you realize that, this one passed me. Because not only do you have to deal with Nigerians, Nigerian residents and Nigerian citizens, you also have to deal with a troublesome border. You still got to deal with the Nigers and the Chads and the Benin Republics, all this instability in the Sahel region. You still got to deal with that. As a Nigerian president, you are looked at as the leader of Africa. You still got to carry that burden. Is that a job that you want? Is this something you feel you can do better at? You got to be able to put people in place to solve problems. That's the thing. We complain too much in Nigeria. Nobody is really a problem solver. I say, I like problem solvers. Work in silence. Solve problem in silence. Everybody's blaming Tinubu right now for our woes. The man still has to deal with the construction of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway that lately nobody really knows what's going on with that highway. We need it because not everybody can fly. The cost of fuel right now that's going on right now in Nigeria, that's going to affect aviation travel. It basically affect all travels. So the majority of Nigerians are not going to be flying, they'll be driving. That road is still not done yet. So you got to deal with that. You got to deal with the fact that Nigeria still doesn't have lights after 65 years. You got to deal with that. How do we build a national grid? Right now, 1 gigawatt is $1 billion. We don't have that money. Nigeria still operates on 5 gigawatts, is what the entire Nigerian country, Nigeria is using to supply a nation of 220 million people depends only on 5 gigawatts of electricity. It takes 100 to run a country like Nigeria. So we are 95 gigawatts short. So when you compute 1 gigawatt is $1 billion, equivalent of $1 billion. So we are $95 billion short for Nigeria to truly become a functioning country. So that's why you see all those blackouts. 5 gigawatts is spread among 220 something million people. That's why we have that issue. So we are 95 gigawatts short. How are you going to get that money? We owe the world right now nearly $50 billion is what Nigeria owes the world. If it takes 95 billion to truly run Nigeria, I live in Las Vegas, Nevada. This is considered what? A mid-sized city. Our population here is probably around 4 million. The energy power that supplies 4 million people is what Nigeria is using to support 220 million people. So you see the discrepancy there. So for all those of you who feel you have a solution, please come to the table with something new. Come to the table with something we've never heard before. We'll listen. The diaspora will listen. Just like you, we all want a winning Nigeria. Nobody wants a Nigeria that continues to struggle. We want to win. So instead of pointing out everything that's wrong with the country, why don't we start talking about solutions? Maybe you can actually run on that. Run on solutions. Have a solutions-driven campaign, presidential campaign, not repeating more of the same. You see, saying something over and over and over and over again doesn't make it truth. So that's what we want. We want you to be able to come in, offer up your solutions, and then go out there and earn the Nigerian votes. The Nigerian vote is not your birthright. I'm talking to everybody right now that's looking at running for office in Nigeria, not just the president, incumbent, that's looking at keeping his presidency. That's not just what I'm talking about. I'm talking about everybody that's running right now. You have got to earn the Nigerian vote. You have got to earn the Nigerian voice. You've got to earn the Nigerian support. It's not your birthright. Just because you are running doesn't mean I get to dash you my vote. It doesn't work like that. Nobody gets to dash you anything. And the thing about it is you can't buy your way out of this, which most of you are doing. You are selling. And I think Nigerian voters should also respect your voice, respect your votes. Hold on to it and only vote for people who you feel has your best interest at heart. People you feel can actually help you with your own personal economy. Not because somebody has 10,000 naira to give you, which is that not what they're doing right now? You see people go out there, oh, hey, 10,000, give me your NIN number. Let me register it. So Nigerians also have to be disciplined in a way. So to the Kenneth Okonkwo's, maybe I can find Mr. Okonkwo's problem here with the current president. I know he's supporting, is he an ADC guy or Labour Party guy? He's from the Southeast. But someone like Okonkwo should come out and offer solutions to Nigeria's woes, and then perhaps you gain our voice and you gain our support. But just going out there, keep repeating things all over and over again, isn't going to help. Doesn't really help anybody at all. Because me, I'm predicting that this election is going to be a landslide for Bola Tinubu. That's just my own prediction. It's just going to be a landslide. Because I just don't see these people competing with him at all. I just don't see. I don't see how Peter Obi can compete. Peter Obi, nobody's even talking about him overseas. This time in 2023, Mr. Obi was everywhere abroad. Everywhere. 8 months to the election. They still don't have a candidate. They don't have a flag bearer. 8 months into the election. When are you actually going to kick off? Once you hit that campaign trail, time flies. Before you know what's happening, it's things start slowing down generally around what November. Is that not when things start slowing down in the world? It's November. So we are what March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. So 8 months. And then the election is in January of 2027. I think Tinubu is gonna win in a landslide. I think he's gonna win. And some of you who are complaining that he's borrowing is, but what do you expect the man to do? How should he not borrow? Where else do you expect Tinubu to get money from to build Nigeria? You guys don't pay taxes. Nigeria doesn't sell anything that the world needs. We don't produce anything. We don't have any standardized. Nothing is standardized in Nigeria. Everyone is just kind of like on their own, doing their own thing. Where are the Nigerian factories today that we can say produces international standard products that not only meets the needs of Nigerians back home, but also we can export? We don't have. We don't have a textile industry. We don't have a manufacturing industry. We don't have a transportation sector. Everything that we do is what this guy, what's his name? Innocent is probably the closest to a Ford Motors that we have in Nigeria. And Innocent is not really a true manufacturer. He's more of an assembly guy. He buys parts from here, he buys parts from there, and then he assembles. He's not really a true auto manufacturer. And even if Innocent were to be an auto manufacturer, you still face the issue of adoption. Nigerians still have to buy Innocent motors, which only a few of you are doing right now. So let's see. More of the, actually, I want to go to Arise and see what's happening in Arise. See Niger News website, eh? You guys just finished your Ramadan. So INEC chair demands discipline, zero tolerance for misconduct ahead of Okiti Oshunpo. Tuga rebuts Uganda, denies APC's crisis role, labels allegation false. Gas station explosion, rocks Calabar. Just looking at something I want to talk about here that makes sense. Who else? Nigerian sachet economy, coping mechanism or sign of deeper strain. Hey, let's look at this sachet economy of Nigeria. Let's look at the sachet economy of Nigeria. Let's play this video and see what's up. Quickly. Where my thing? Oh, let's see. Sachet economy. I want to hear about this one. Is this a video? Okay, it's right here.
Right now in Nigeria, over the years, a growing number of consumers have been turning to sachets, small, affordable portions of, actually really small, of everyday products in response to rising economic pressure. The industry is now valued at about $1.3 billion, reflecting both demand and scale. But is this trend helping Nigerians cope or highlighting deeper financial strain? What about the environmental consequences and health worries? Arise business producer Lillian Jijinje Aguda examines all of that.
What do you guys think of the sachet economy? Everything is sacheted. The sachet beer, sachet alcohol, sachet powdered milk, sachet this, sachet that.
In this special report.
In many Nigerian kitchens, the day
sachet pure water. Oh, but this sachet pure water saved me back in Nigeria, so I can't really beat it. I can't beat up sachet water too much. See that pure water right there, man. They will just drink water, throw the sachet for ground. Keep watching. Play now.
like this, small sachets opened one at a time. Water, milk, sugar, measured not in bulk, but in bits. For many, it's not just convenience, it's survival.
The reason why I buy sachet products is because it's very cheaper and it's affordable.
Huh. See that wall, see that ceiling. Hey. Oh, wow.
For customer to purchase it and then to preserve it, it is very easier to keep it.
Step outside and the same pattern plays out everywhere. From small shops to crowded markets to the hawkers, sachets are on display everywhere. It serves as a daily staple.
If I should buy like how many cartons of the small one, I'll sell it before I sell one carton of the big one. So it's very affordable for.
So consumers are also helping boost this sachet economy. What this signals, guys, is that this is what the people want. So as long as the demand is there, these people are going to continue to make their sachets, whether it's that sachet of Valtin that you saw or the sachet Milo. The demand is there. Consumers are saying this is exactly what we want. Like this lady is saying, hey, man, if I were to pull together a sachet, and these sachets are probably going for like 50 naira. 50 naira. If she were to put a sachet of powdered milk together versus, let's say, a container of the same product, the sachet is going to fly off the shelf a lot quicker. So when you have demand, you're going to have supply for sure.
The customers, that's why they rush it.
People like this one more than the big one because this one is not more costly. It's just 200 naira per one. So people buy it so they can use it for the day.
But behind this growing trend is a deeper economic reality. Experts say it reflects how much people can actually afford to spend.
When the ability to purchase.
Isn't that what I talked about? We don't have the buying power as a result of our per capita. The value of every Nigerian today, 220 million Nigerians, your per capita is $1,200 per person. How did I get that math? You take the You take the Nigeria's nominal US GDP, $285 billion a year is Nigeria's GDP output every year. And then you divide that by the population. That's how you get the 1,200 per capita. Compared to the United States, US GDP is what? 30 trillion. Divided by 330 million people, you get 85,000 per capita. That's what this means. Nigeria doesn't have the buying power. People are not making enough money to be able to afford a can of milk. That's why they are resorting to these 200 naira sachets. We just don't have that. And let me stop this for a second and I'll play that again. So you can, and this goes to a lot of these. This is not what I want. That's not what I want. This goes to a lot of these Tinubu haters out there. Tinubu haters. You see, if you don't have an economy of people that can afford, so what do I spend? I spend roughly, like, let's say a bottle of bourbon, it's like $50 is a bottle that fills this thing up. I can afford that. Most Americans can afford a $50 bottle of bourbon if they like bourbon. Most Nigerians can't. I probably say, I don't know the percentage, but a high percentage of Nigerians can't. Do you know why? Because the federal minimum wage right now in Nigeria is only 80,000 naira per month. And the private sector is not paying that. Right now, today, I can hire a manager in Nigeria for $100,000 a month. Easy. Easy. I can hire an assistant right now. They'll be rushing, submitting resumes right now for 50,000 naira per month. Easy. So these guys that are making this 50K, 80K a month, which is what 90% of Nigerians, these are the ones that are buying these 200 naira, 100 naira sachets. Because they look at a can of Milo as luxury. And that can of Milo could be an equivalent of what? How many sachets? 100 sachets? So they'll just go and buy one sachet at a time. One sachet at a time. Man, if you're in Nigeria, just go and station up at a gas station in Nigeria, a fuel station in Nigeria, and observe. Motorcycles will come in, they'll buy 100 naira fuel. Cars will come and buy 200 naira fuel. Just enough to get them from one block to the next. And then they'll come back and repeat the process. So the average Nigerian Okada driver can probably hit the filling station 20 times a day. And I always wonder, why not just stop off? Just stop off. Oga, this one, because of the mindset. Here in the United States, at least I can only speak for me. I have a Ford F-150 and my gas tank is 27 gallons. And I only go to the fuel station when it's on empty. Once that gas light comes on that says low fuel, that's when I'll go and I'll top it off. Right now, with the oil prices at what, $112, $115 per barrel, I am probably paying about $4.30 per gallon right now. To fill up my truck is like what, maybe $125 today compared to let's say 70 to 80 pre-Iran conflict. Post-Iran conflict right now, I'm paying about $125 to fill up my truck. And then I run it all week. And then I don't go back until that thing hits empty. You see, that's per capita that's speaking there. Most Nigerians who are earning 50,000, 90% of Nigerians are in that 50 to 100,000 naira per month salary range. They are the ones that are picking up the pure waters now. They are the ones that are picking up all these sachets that they're talking about. And then Nigeria is also cracking down on the sachets too. So then what do you want the people to do? Let's continue watching. It's not easy. It's not easy in Nigeria. And before I continue, thank you to all the people in the diaspora who are helping to support those back home. And I'm not talking about sending money. That's not what excites me. I want to thank you for the projects that you are effecting back home. It goes a long way. The engineer that I spoke to this morning was just thanking me. Sir, thank you so much. If it wasn't for you, thank you so much. I'm building a duplex because of you, Rich and Barricade. I'm not getting any kickback. They found him through my platform. It's what we do, at least what we try to help do. Because it's not as if Nigerians abroad are not trying to build back home. Most of you don't know where to look, and that's why we are here. So I do want to thank anybody right now, whether it's through me or through others, that has the trust and the belief to do something back home. Just know that you are impacting lives, and the people that you are employing, trust me, they value you and they thank you deeply. Because without the diaspora, 20-something billion dollars is what we send home every year. Most of you are still sending it home though for food. 75% of you are still doing that. But I want to shift that, at least be part of the people that actually shift that into investment. Because when you invest in Nigeria through projects, you hire a contractor to help you build. Now you're going to need security systems for your house. Now that contractor turns around and hires somebody that does that. You are creating a ripple effect. So I really do want, on behalf of everybody in Nigeria that's benefiting from the diaspora, thank you for everybody in the diaspora that's doing something back home, starting a business, building a project, something other than just sending money for somebody to go to the joint. And keep building, because you are going to need it with everything that's happening right now in the world. And for mostly Nigerians who are in these unstable regions, that's just prone to wars and prone to conflicts. I'm talking about the Middle Eastern regions. You might want to reconsider your activities back home in Nigeria and start investing. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself in a situation where you don't have anything back home to fall back to. So let's continue. Let's continue playing this. My timer is telling me I have 8 minutes left. So I don't know if this thing is just going to shut off after 8 minutes. But if it does shut off after 8 minutes, thank you for watching in advance. Go to Mbereket.com and pick up the Mbereket crayfish brand. Help to support this crayfish brand, because guess what? Every dollar that you spend helps to support processing back in Nigeria, help to create jobs. So I'm gonna play this again. And like I said, the timer is giving me 7 minutes. If it ends while I'm talking, I subscribe, share. If you like this live brief that I do, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you hit that notification bell. So next time I'm back online, you are notified. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue playing this. First time I'm watching this, by the way, with you guys. Okay, where we going? This is Rewani.
Just drops. Then people they do two things. One, you either substitute for a cheaper alternative, or you buy in smaller quantities, right? So people are not totally indifferent because of price and income. Now, having said that, it's clear that, let us trace it historically. In the past 3 to 5 years, the income, there's what we call disposable income, and what we call the other income, they call it discretionary income. Now, so what has happened is that both discretionary and disposable income have actually declined.
Still, there's another side to the.
You see, that's Alfred Rewani right there. He's an economist in Nigeria. It's what I remember. This is what I was saying about Nigeria's spending power. So when you have a situation where disposable cash is decreased, that is what is causing this situation where Nigeria is now largely a sachet economy where all they can do is afford something that's 100 naira at a time, 200 naira at a time. They can't buy more. They'll go to the market and buy gari. Maybe they'll buy 5 cups for, instead of buying a bag of gari, they'll just buy 5 cups for 1,000 naira and just can't continue. It's not this, the country can't live like this. The country cannot live like this. This is not sustainable. The sachet economy in Nigeria, unfortunately, as much as the consumer demand is there, it's not a sustainable lifestyle. It's not a sustainable economy. It's not.
Sorry, on how sachet production supports jobs and the economy.
Allow for miniaturization so that aggregate demand does not fall. And if aggregate demand does not fall, aggregate supply will not fall. If aggregate supply does not fall, it means the number of people unemployed will also reduce. And if that happens, the default rate on loans will be lower and the economy actually goes into this cycle of prosperity. The opposite, or the reverse is the opposite is the reverse, which will give you goes into a recession, goes into unemployment, goes into crime, and goes into lower taxes for the government.
Manufacturers echo this belief and say they are simply responding to demand, whilst calling it a billion-dollar industry.
Now, that's a stretch. Calling this sachet economy a billion-dollar industry is a stretch. I don't believe that at all. And, when you have demand, you're going to have supply. The manufacturers are not going to stop selling their 100 naira to 200 naira sachets. They're not going to stop because the demand is just there. Because people, if they were to stop right now and start making container products, people are not going to buy them. They like these small items that they can just afford. Anything between the price cap that Remadi is talking about, you're looking at what? 50 naira to 500 naira, probably what these people can afford at a time. And that is not a way that you can thrive in an economy. A nation can't thrive like that. So Nigeria has we really do have a disposable income issue. Most Nigerians just don't have it. They just don't.
The sachet industry in Nigeria is estimated to be about 1.8 trillion naira.
I don't know what 1.8 trillion is when you convert it to dollars, but I doubt it. I doubt it.
That's
I mean, how are they measuring this though? How are you measuring the impact of this economy or of this sachet economy? How? Do you have data? It's not as if these people are scanning barcodes. These products don't have barcodes. So then someone just sat somewhere and made up that money. There's no barcode for you to be able to track retail spending like we do here in the United States. We don't have that. So the 1.8 trillion, I mean, I don't know what it is in USD. That's a stretch.
About 1.3 billion US dollars. And it has a very high potential for growth. In the market space, the customer is king. And so reaching the highest number of customers will be what will determine your prosperity, your productivity, your sales volumes, and your capacity to maintain your market space, be able to dominate it, and be able to expand.
But as sachets become more popular, concerns...
Look at that. Look at that. Trash. That's what happens, guys. You see this trash right here in these gutters? That's what happens. This is part of what is going on with this sachet economy. This is the after effects of the sachet economy. Someone drinks, what do you call it? Pure water. They'll just throw it on the ground. They open a sachet of beer or something. They'll just throw it in the gutter. This is what is happening. This is part of the problem that's also helping to cause health issues in Nigeria because of this. This is going to seep into the water system that's in the country. This is what's going on. This is a problem.
Are growing on its impacts on the environment. From convenience to consequence, plastic sachets are now a major part of urban waste, especially in cities like Lagos.
We're aware that Lagos has over 22 million people.
And of course, this is also added on top of that are the number of people coming into Lagos on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this has an impact on.
Also, waste control is also a major issue. You see the landfill, major issue. Nigeria still struggles with this landfill matter here.
Waste, especially in cities like Lagos.
We're aware that Lagos has over 22 million people. And of course, this is also added on top of that are the number of people coming into Lagos on a daily basis. And of course, this has an impact on the volume of waste that is generated. You know, when they're moving around, there's a tendency that you want to buy something in traffic, and most people just throw that out without even thinking of the effect on the environment. Mm-hmm. And these are easily blown into the drainages, you know. So along the line, you have a lot of flooding.
The story doesn't have to end in new ways.
They convert sushi into have this very big, massive sheet of nylon that you lay under before you start your paving.
Beyond environmental and economic concerns, Nigeria's Food and Drug Regulator has also raised alarms about the widespread.
I don't want to bore you guys. I don't want to bore you guys with this.
Mental health risks. The National Agency.
I don't want to bore you guys with this, but this sachet economy it's not something that Nigeria can sustain for the long term. Let's see what else we can show, and then we can wrap it up today. What questions do you guys have? You know, how do you personally see the so-called sachet economy in Nigeria? You know, they've tied some metrics to it. They're saying it's 1 point something trillion naira, which is an equivalent to about 1 point something billion dollars. I don't know how they are tying metrics to something that they can't really measure. It's not as if that they're scanning barcodes or they're able to survey the retail space in Nigeria, which really doesn't really exist. Where is the data coming from to be able to support that amount that they're talking about? You know, seven of you watching. Post where you're watching from. So this Nigerian market, I don't want to touch too much about US today. I just want to focus on the Nigeria market only today. And then I might be back tomorrow to talk about the US market. So Dangote Refinery sees demand surge. Okay, let's look at this. As Iran war disrupts African fuel supply, African nations rush to Dangote Refinery for fuel supplies. Yeah, but soon Dangote is going to run out of fuel now. He's going to run out of fuel, or at some point he's going to have to just hold off to see what's happening because he has to be able to take care of Nigerians first, at least the Nigerian demand for fuel before exporting. So right now he says it's not about pricing, it's about, you see what I'm talking about? It's about availability. The world is not producing any more fuel. It's not as if there aren't any crude oil in the ground. They can't produce. And the reason why they can't produce is there's no place to store them. That's the issue. So you see what I said earlier about this issue is going to consider for a while. You're going to consider, so you're going to pay that 1,200, 1,300 naira per liter for a while. If not through the summer. You see, making sure we have fuel inventories for a crisis like this is also quite important. So we are putting a lot of business continuity management plans in place because Nigeria better be thankful for Dangote, because if Dangote did not exist, you guys will be paying 2,500 naira per liter today if Dangote did not exist. And Dangote does not have the reserves for, let's say, the next 90 days. It does not. It does not. So unless something is absolutely essential, I would probably watch your movements. Unless something is absolutely essential, we don't have the reserves in Nigeria like we do here in the United States, where we can go to multiple years and not have to depend on, because why? We have the oil. We can get crude oil out of the ground. We can also refine crude oil in America. So America does not have a problem. Those who are in this dependent on the Strait of Hormuz, like Africa, that's what the problem is. You see, only 1% of oil from the Straits comes to the US. We don't really use straight oil. We don't. It's the rest of the world that uses straight oil. Africa, Europe, the rest of Asia. You guys are the ones using straight oil. US doesn't. So we don't really we are not that impacted, but Nigeria is, and other African nations. So let's see, and then we'll wrap up. Let me continue and then we'll wrap up. Then we'll wrap up. So this is all, just want to catch up on what's happening. I want to go back to Tinubu, Stema, old talks are straight defense. I talked about this the other day. Okay, let's go back to channels and then we'll wrap up if there's anything important to talk about in channels. Sigbinidian school students accused of bullying. Okay, not that. Okay, let's see here. Nigerian mom, 2 children killed in US road accident. Need boss mourns. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. Let's look at the latest stories. We're not talking about Trump today. We're not talking about US markets today, just Nigeria. Okay, NYSC Mons Ogunko member confirms arrest of employee. Okay, this is the Okonkwo guy that I'm talking about. Tinubu should have canceled UK trip. Okay, so let's talk about this Kenneth Okonkwo guy, guys. You see, let's first of all let's play and see what this Okonkwo has to talk about, and then we'll talk about it.
From base 44. Nice. Nina just built an app.
What one are you talking about? Like I was saying, our team said ABC. Is that the demon? You said ABC. You just mentioned an angel. So why are you counting the living among the dead? Which is the dead now? So as I was saying, chill. Are you making reference to APC as the demon? I'd say it's just the cops. It's just, I'll come to that. But I am talking about the living. And please, don't search for the living among the dead.
All right. Okay. So this is the kind of Okonkwo that I was referencing earlier. He's comparing APC to the dead. First of all, APC is alive and well. Okonkwo, if you're not aware, be aware. Just know that it's like something is red and you're calling it blue. It doesn't make it true. APC is alive and well, and APC is going to beat your ass come general election in January. So you think that this is the solution, going out there and speaking rubbish. This is not the solution. Come to the table with something that's new. You guys are not coming to the table with a solution. You're not. Okonkwo is part of the ADC group of the coalition force, the internally displaced politicians, according to Nyesom Wiki. Okonkwo is part of that fold. You see, when you have a platform like Channels, where Nigerians watch, Nigerians in the diaspora, we pay attention to platforms like that to get our up-to-date news, even though I don't really necessarily agree with Nigerian media personalities because they don't press Nigerian politicians. They don't ask them deep questions. They don't ask them important questions. Shehu at least tries, but Shehu has to really watch because at the end of the day, he's an employee of Channels TV. He can't really push too hard. I kind of look at Shehu as our version of Anderson Cooper. He tries his best, but he's only limited in what he can ask these people. And Shehu is very good at sitting on the fence. You understand what I mean? He's very good at sitting on the fence. He doesn't really want to upset the people at APC. He doesn't want to upset the people at ADC because he needs that interview. But back to Mr. Okonkwo here, guys. If you are going to, on a platform like this, to talk about something, talk about solutions. Talk about solutions. Talk about something that Tinubu is doing that if you were to do that thing differently, you would get different outcomes. You see, it's like saying we are both, because Nigeria is a marathon. Nigeria is not a sprint. Nigeria is a marathon. Governing Nigeria is a marathon, using that analogy. So it's like saying, okay, we are both marathon runners, but I can run faster than you. But at the end of the day, we are both marathon runners in the sense that push comes to shove, when the election is over and they announce a winner, that winner has to govern. It's still a marathon. It's still a race. How would you govern differently to get the desired outcome that Nigerians want? Not just Nigerians at home, but also Nigerians in the diaspora. How can you get that the desired outcome? There is no answer. They don't really have a solution other than to go. And what they are doing is when they say something like the APCs, the living among the dead among the living, or something to that effect. You see, they're trying to sensationalize the conversation, which isn't that what, that's not why you are there, to sensationalize. See, smart Nigerians, we want solutions, we want answers. We want answers to the ongoing problems in Nigeria. And the number one answer that people want, believe you me, is not solving insecurity. The number one answer that people want is energy. How are we going to get out of this rut that we're in? Because if you don't have energy, you don't have sectors. Plain and simple. The small to medium-sized businesses cannot thrive without energy. The local hair salon in Nigeria today is largely dependent on what? Generator. You can't run a local small hair salon or barber shop without having a generator in Nigeria. You are dead. You are dead. Because there's no power grid to connect to. So the little revenue that you have goes to what? Not only does it go to buying fuel for your generator, because the more you run something like that, it's going to be prone to damage. That means you have to repair. So the little money that you are generating from your business goes to what? Generator repair, goes to fuel. Forget research and development. Forget new products. You can't expand. Nigeria is a rat race of a country. These are the kind of answers that people want. Okonkwo, I want to know if I'm where to sit across from you. I get it. I get it. You're upset. Most people are upset. The same people that are upset at Tinubu are the same people that were upset at what do you call it? The previous president, Buhari. And prior to that, they were mad at Goodluck Jonathan. And prior to that, they were mad at Olusegun Obasanjo or Olusegun Obasanjo's regime. So it's the same story all over again. It's just a different storyteller. So I am not necessarily impressed with the direction of the so-called opposition. I mean, I wish there's someone to stand by. Unfortunately, there's really not a single candidate that I can literally stand behind today. Not standing behind Tinubu. I'm not standing behind Obi. I'm not standing behind Atiku. There's nothing to stand on because you guys don't even have anything that you're standing on other than to complain and blame. You think it's easy to run Nigeria? And unfortunately, we're not going to give you a chance for you to learn on the job. We are not. The Nigerian vote matters. We are not just going to trust you. The reason why people kind of trust Tinubu a little bit was because at least he showed results when he was the governor of Lagos. But running a state of 3,700 square kilometers is different than running a country of nearly 1,000,000 square kilometers. Totally different. It's not the same. It's not even close. So at least Tinubu, we can say, had 8 years as the Lagos governor. He did well there. Although he lost Lagos, though. He lost Lagos to Peter Obi. Frankly. Obi won Lagos. Obi won Abuja. Obi won all of the southeastern states. He won 7 out of 36, which is roughly about 20%, 21%. But that's not going to get you the presidency because Obi did not win any northern states. For you to win in Nigeria, you got to win northern states, plain and simple. So, yes, Tinubu lost Lagos to Obi, he lost Abuja to Obi, he lost that progressive demographic to Obi. But at the end of the day, it's the mama Mama I'll do Those local people, rural people are the ones that choose the presidency of Nigeria. It's not city people. Otherwise, Obi will be president. So that's it. Thank you guys. I just want to catch up today. Be sure to like, share, and comment. Let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. Are you going to vote? If you are a Nigerian voter, register. Your vote counts. Don't think that your vote doesn't matter. I know that the turnout of the election that they had in Abuja last month or so was very, very low. 90 something, even the presidential election of 2023, 94 million Nigerians are registered to vote. Only about 25 million showed up. So where are the rest? If you're registered to vote, get out there and cast your vote. It's a constitutional right. We need more people to stand up and vote. I don't care who wins. We just need more people out there to go out there and cast their votes. That is your constitutional right. You've earned it as a Nigerian. Okay, and I wish more people, more of these presidential hopefuls would come to the table with solutions. We don't want to hear the problems anymore. Just give it to us raw and uncut. How are you going to solve Nigeria's problems? All right, my name is Rich Mbereket. Be sure to visit mbereket.com and pick up your pack of crayfish. Processed in Nigeria, homegrown in Nigeria for the global market. It's available on mbereket.com. Buy the 3-pack for $29.97. You get a better deal that way because you get free shipping in the United States when you buy the 3-pack for $29.97. Or you can buy more for, I believe, $49 or so. It's not in my front right now. Or if you just want to try out one packet, it's $9.99 with $5.99 shipping. If you just want to try it out. Other than that, I'll catch you guys. Catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for listening. I'll be back possibly tomorrow. If I'm not back tomorrow, I'll be back on Monday for another live brief. All right, I'll catch you guys then.